Hello everybody, this is the end of the year 2010 and I would like to talk to you a little bit about economic trends. I would like to talk about trends, period. I want to explain a little bit the importance of trends versus the importance of statistic. Statistic is one thing, trend is a whole different thing. Even though trends are put together with statistics, they're just long term. The trick is when you predict the future to use past trends. Even though, let me right away explain and tell you, I'm the first one who does not believe that past trends, past happenings actually must happen in the future. Basically, if you have been a failure for 20 years, does not mean you have to be a failure in the next 20 years. And if you have been a success the last 20 years, it does not mean you have to be a success the next 20 years. Just because you never made X amount of money does not mean you can't do it today. Just because hardly anybody did something or nobody ever did it doesn't mean you couldn't do it. So it's very important for me to make that as a statement before, when afterwards I base everything on basically what happens today, and what happened in the past is showing you what's going to happen tomorrow. But only and only if you don't change what you're doing. I think it was Einstein who says, if you expect a different result, yet you continue doing what you have been doing, that's called insanity. So basically, trends are based on that, all right? If a person, let's just say, is 20, 25 years old, and he's, let's just say, 150 pounds overweight, and you see him eating pizza at night at 10, 11 o'clock while being a couch potato and watching television with a couple, 2, 3 beer, you see him waking up to maybe coffee and donuts, you see him being extremely sedative throughout the whole day and eating sandwiches throughout the day with cold cuts in it, which, by the way, I love very much, but the point is that's all he eats. If you see him in the afternoon again taking donuts and pizza and otherwise bad food such as hot dogs, maybe a couple 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 beers every single day, very rarely exercising, maybe even smoking, you know what is going to happen to this chap if he doesn't change what he is doing. Okay? For instance, there's a doctor whose advice I follow a lot, and in fact he lost the license, and simply because he's very much into alternative health care. His name is Dr. Schultz, and he says to get healthy is rather simple. Stop what you're doing which is hurting you and start doing things which don't hurt you. And it's rather well known what hurts us and what not. All right, let's talk about trends in the economy. Since, the end of the year, the new year coming, it's a natural thing to slightly say, well, New Year's resolution. Here's what's going on. Number one, there's a few things in the economy you and me can probably not change. However, let's face it, that those things we cannot change, we can nevertheless prepare for it. If we know there's a storm coming, like I grew up in the Alps and a snowstorm and whatever it might be, you prepare for it. As my mom always said, there is no such a thing like bad weather. There is only bad clothing. Your clothing doesn't fit the weather. Your actions or your preparedness doesn't fit the economy. And this is a little bit what I want to talk about here. After I'm finished, there may be a few people who may think that I'm a doom-gloom and a pessimist and fearmonger or whatever it might be. People who know me know I'm not. I am so optimistic it isn't even real. However, there is a difference between being optimistic and between being stupid or foolish. And I've been stupid and foolish plenty of times by not recognizing the future based on what is happening today. already. Basically, the future is already here. This is a sentence I'm stealing from a gentleman called Peter Drucker, probably not verbatim, but nevertheless, where, you know, he has books. Peter Drucker, one of the most famous and first management consultants, consulting very large companies, and just died recently, 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever. It is all based on what I already said with the health thing. This chap's future, who drinks beer, eats donuts, eats pizza, eats sandwiches, eats pasta, eats hot dogs, doesn't exercise, and all that type of stuff, his future is already here. He is dead man walking. All right. We may not know when he's going to fall into that category of being dead man, but he will fall a lot faster than than other people on a very, very high average. We know his life is forfeited. So, in the economy, if you look at a few things which are happening and always have happened, frankly, for thousands of years, you might want to start preparing yourself, all right? How to prepare and what to do, there'll be other videos on it. This one, let me point out a few things here. The dollar is becoming more and more and more worthless. See, it's not that, for instance, the price of gold or silver is going up. No, it's not that the milk becomes more valuable. The dollar becomes less valuable. All right? That has been a trend for a long time. Now, some of it is kind of like adapted as normal and even perhaps healthy. That's all beside the point. When it gets out of control, it is like an avalanche out of control. Some of you, all of you, maybe, most of you might go and say nothing is out of control. In fact, you will say the government has just told us that there is no inflation. In fact, the Social Security and the pensions or whatever that type of stuff is has for 1 or 2 years now not been increased simply because there is no inflation. Balderdash, complete baloney and not true. If you go milk shopping, bread shopping and everything else shopping, you will know that that is not true. If you go insurance shopping, if you go car shopping, if you buy gasoline at the, it is not true. Numbers can be manipulated while yet being true and not lied. I'm a mechanical machinery engineer. I definitely know about that. Okay? How they do that, it doesn't really matter, but it mainly by excluding and including activities and things which then make that happen. If you exclude oil, gasoline, if you exclude certain foods, well, then of course it doesn't look as an inflation. If you then include things which by accident go down, such as real estate, well then of course it looks like, look, there is no inflation. All right? It's not how it works. We have major inflation going on, and this is the reason why is because, of course, with what we have, QE, quantitative easing.